Welcome back to the deep dive, where we tear through the research and try to give you that essential knowledge shortcut. Today, we are strapping on our routing shoes, metaphorically speaking, and diving headfirst into the pretty high-stakes world of competitive lunch lady speedrunning. Our mission, specifically, is to perform a focused chronological autopsy, if you will, of the world record history for the map released just last year, Community Swimming Hall.
Yeah, and for anyone watching the competitive scene, I mean, the story of this map is just a masterclass in optimization. Really is. The initial phase when a new map drops, it's almost always the most dramatic. It really reveals the strategic skill, the mental fortitude of these top runners.
Right.
What we're seeing here is basically the entire history of competitive route refinement, but it's all condensed into less than 5 months.
And that compression is what makes this analysis so compelling, I think. The gun basically fired on this map on October 21st, 2024, and the competition was immediate. It started with what we're going to call the initial benchmark and the blitz. So the very first official recorded run was, well, naturally, a bit exploratory. The player, Andrix W, set the benchmark on that first day, October 21st. The time was 1 minute, 40 seconds, and 7 milliseconds. A functional run, certainly designed to test the layout, maybe the hazard.
Yeah, it's a necessary first step, that 1.40
Exactly.
time, definitely. It tells us this run likely involved, significant search time, maybe a couple of poor page spawns, some cautious navigation, and Drex W is a seasoned player, holds strong times on maps like Kabashi, so this is more of a structural run, right? Not necessarily an optimized one yet.
And what's fascinating here is the immediate, almost aggressive response from the player who, let's be honest, has consistently defined what top tier means in this game.
You're talking about Bolak.
Yeah.
Less than 1 hour after Andrix set that initial marker, Belloc enters the fray. And he didn't just beat the record, he annihilated it, clocking in at 1 minute, 34 seconds, and 480 milliseconds.
Wow.
That's a 5.5-second cut right out of the gate.
Is that typical for a top-tier veteran?
Yeah.
To find 5 seconds of optimization in the first hour of a map's life, doesn't that suggest the initial route was just fundamentally flawed? Or does it really just confirm Belloc's sheer dominance?
It confirms his dominance, definitely. But more specifically, it confirms his ability to just scout the map architecture in minutes. It's uncanny. Belloc is a meta-dominant player. He's consistently a top solo runner on, every map we track, from the intense pressure of Manic to the complex routing of Nightmare. When he enters a new map, he's not looking for a functional route. He's looking for the fastest structural route possible, immediately.
And he proved he wasn't done finding speed, not by a long shot. An hour after setting that first world record on this map, Belloc just dropped the hammer again. Submitted a run of 1 minute, 22 seconds, and 741 milliseconds.
Yeah.
So in the span of about 2 hours, the time dropped nearly 18 seconds from that original benchmark.
And that second cut, going from 1.34 down to 1.22, that's the critical insight here. That shows he went from just a good structural route to an optimal structural route, almost instantly. He identified and eliminated massive bottlenecks, maybe a slow path through the water sections, or, a dangerous blind spot that cost several seconds before. He didn't just execute well, he mentally solved the map's architecture. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, so once 1.22 was established, the floodgates kind of opened for the next phase. We're calling this the rapid contenders phase. It covers roughly the next 10 days, where the top spot just became this revolving door. Elite runners realized, okay, the ceiling is still much higher here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This period, roughly the last week of October, it's where the community starts to collaboratively, well, even competitively, figure out the underlying game mechanics of the map. The time cuts aren't just about movement anymore. They're about understanding where the pages actually spawn. That's key.
Right, and we saw Chalk 'em Up and Step Up just today, and 5 hours later, October 22nd, they set 1 minute, 21 seconds, and 219 milliseconds, slicing another, 1.5 seconds off the time.
Yep.
Then, only about 17 hours after that, Brix 1 achieved a massive breakthrough, shattering the 1.20 barrier. They hit 1 minute, 17 seconds, and 831 milliseconds. That's a huge 3.388-second improvement in less than a day.
Mm-hmm.
Why such a large jump at that specific moment? I mean, Belloc had already done the heavy lifting on rediscovery, right? What did McGrix 1 find that was worth over 3 seconds?
Well, this speed, this jump, it pretty much confirms that Micrix 1, or maybe the community watching them, had fully cracked the map's inherent complexity. And that complexity centers on the page spawning rules. The reason search time drops so dramatically is the understanding of what are known as the color sets mechanics.
Wait, hold on. Okay, we dropped some jargon there. Color sets rule. What exactly does that mean for someone just trying to, beat the map? Can you give us the simple version?
Absolutely, yeah. The simple version is basically this. On this map, pages don't just spawn totally randomly. They're grouped. You need 10 pages, right? And those 10 pages always spawn from 10 specific groups of 5 potential spawn spots each. So if you learn those 10 groups or color sets, it drastically reduces your search time variability, like massively. Instead of checking, say, 50 random spots across the map, you know which 10 localized areas must contain the pages.
Ah, okay.
Micrix One's huge time cut suggests they had either like a near-perfect run on a really favorable set of spawns, or more likely they had mastered checking those localized color sets groups incredibly fast.
That makes perfect sense. So it turns the search from this like chaotic grid into just 10 tight circles you need to check.
Okay.
And we should note, these players, they have the pedigree right. Mixic One is a top 10 runner on really challenging maps like Mark Bill and Nightmare.
Precisely. And Chocomuffin, who's top 5 in Crux and High, they weren't out of the race yet either. They actually reclaimed the WR on October 30th with 1 minute, 16 seconds, and 405 milliseconds. This back and forth, it isn't just luck. It's dedicated, intense, strategic improvement happening as they leverage that discovery of the color set mechanic.
But they were, it seems, quickly running into a bit of a wall. The cuts were getting smaller again, hovering around the 1 second mark. They were kind of entering the territory of diminishing returns, maybe. The record sat at 1.16. And this brings us to segment 3, the monumental leap and, the partner rivalry. The leaderboard went completely silent for almost 3 weeks. That's 19 long days, which in speedrunning time feels like an eternity, right?
Oh, absolutely. An eternity. Runners were trying everything to break 1.6, seemingly unable to find that next big route break.
That silence, it tells us the community probably believed 1.16 was, well, pretty close to the map's theoretical limit at that point. Based on the existing movement and routing strategies anyway, any significant cut would have to come from a major, fundamental discovery.
Exactly.
And that discovery came on November 18th. And it wasn't incremental, not at all. The player Inge submitted a run that dropped the record by a mind-blowing 8.280 seconds, clocking in at 1 minute, 08 seconds, and 125 milliseconds.
8 seconds. I mean, that is less of an optimization and more of a total rerouting of the map. To find that much time after the 1.16 barrier was already established, it suggests Inge discovered a new traversal sequence. Or maybe an entirely unexpected path through the map that bypassed previous choke points. It was like going from taking the highway to finding a secret runway.
Yeah, that amount of improvement must have been just devastating news for every runner holding on to a 1.16 time. Just crushing. But here's where the narrative gets, well, absolutely delicious. We have to talk about who Inge actually is.
We definitely do. Inged is the alias for the player, Berksley Male 214. Now, why does that name matter so much? Because Berksley Male 214 is the longtime duo partner of Belloc, the very player who started this whole blitz.
Get out. So these two, they're responsible for basically dominating the game's cooperative categories. They hold all 8 quad world records with Trick Room, and they own the duo categories together. They practice together, route together, probably share strategies constantly, yet here they are, now direct and fierce rivals for the single most coveted solo spot on this newest map.
It creates this really unique tension, doesn't it? Imagine practicing flawless coordination with someone for months, achieving cooperative perfection, only to then turn around and try to beat them by milliseconds in a solo run. It's fascinating. This move by Ingedor, or Berksley Male 214, was a powerful statement of solo intent, clearly. They weren't content to just share the cooperative spotlight. They wanted that individual crown, too.
And that record, that 1.08, it stood as a monument to that ambition for a long time. It held the top spot from November 18th, 2024, all the way until March 7th, 2025. 3 months and 19 days. That duration speaks volumes about how near-perfect Inged run must have been. The community spent an entire holiday season and half the new year trying to chip away at that sub 1.09 mountain.
It really stabilized the map for a while. Once the 1.08 was set, the larger routing questions were pretty much solved. The next improvements would have to come down to execution, movement inputs, and, microscopic luck with page pathing. Really fine-tuning.
But no record in speedrunning is truly safe forever, is it? Let's move to our final segment, the King's final move. After his partner held the title for nearly 4 months, Belloc returned to the Community Swimming Hall leaderboard on March 7th, 2025.
And he proved yet again why he's considered the, undisputed solo master of this game. Belloc finally overcame that 1.08 wall set by his own partner and established the current world record. That time is 1 minute, 7 seconds, and 88 milliseconds. Just incredible.
And the victory margin this time, agonizingly thin. Just 1.037 seconds separated the two long-term partners. That single second took nearly 4 months of elite effort, practice, and routing analysis to shave off. Think about that.
And that's the difference right there between major route discovery and micro-optimization. The 8-second cut inged found. That was finding the right line, the big strategy. This final 1-second cut by Bullock. That's executing that line flawlessly down to the pixel. It means perfecting jump inputs, ensuring minimal friction loss in water sections, achieving the most efficient page order without a single misstep or hesitation. It's a run that is, for all practical purposes, indistinguishable from perfection at this point.
The data just reinforces what we see across the entire game landscape, really. Belloc solidifies his reputation as the dominant solo player. He now holds the solo WR on the newest map, alongside his continued excellence on all the established tough maps.
And it just beautifully wraps up the optimization curve for Community Swimming Hall, doesn't it? We saw the initial benchmark shattered by 18 seconds almost instantly, then the rapid optimization through understanding the mechanics, the color sets, then that massive shocking route break from Inge securing 8 whole seconds, and finally, the grueling microscopic battle for the last 1 second, ultimately won by Balak.
So, what does this all mean for you, the learner, listening in? The Community Swimming Hall WR dropped from 1.4Z all the way down to 1.07 in less than 5 months. Driven by rapid, really high-stakes competition between the absolute elite of the game, the current record history, as noted in the source, concludes the simple phrase, waiting for the next world record.
Yeah, that phrase captures the spirit entirely. The difficulty shift from 1.16 down to 1.08, that was about strategy. The difficulty from 1.08 down to 1.07, that's pure execution. The time is so incredibly tight now, it might be months, maybe even longer, before a new record surfaces, if ever.
Which brings us to a final provocative thought for you to maybe chew on. We know the official rule set for this game requires point-of-view footage for the top 5 multiplayer runs. That demands absolute transparency and coordination. So what level of preparation and maybe even psychological equilibrium must Belloc and Berksley Mail 214 maintain to dominate both the cooperative duo and quad categories simultaneously while remaining such fierce, focused solo rivals on the very same maps?
It really raises a powerful question, doesn't it? Do they achieve that cooperative synergy because their solo rivalry forces them both to elevate their individual skills to such an extreme level? Does that ultimately make them an even more unstoppable pair when they finally do choose to collaborate?
Fierce competition breeding stronger collaboration. A fascinating paradox to consider. Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll see you next time.